So it's great here to be with everyone. Welcome to the middle of the week. It's amazing how our weeks continue to progress as we're moving through, again, still kind of difficult and challenging time. Where a lot of people have been talking about how they are reaching higher and higher levels of fatigue, and it's hard to maintain their energy. It's hard to maintain the relationships that they're dealing with. The 17-year-old that lives at my house, if you had asked her and probably any of her friends how she planned to spend her entire junior year of high school, she would not have said, in the house with her parents every day. So it's created a sense of loss for many people. There's this idea that somehow something was taken from us, something was stolen. And I've heard, yeah, go ahead, Nancy.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I thought you were just joining the conversation. But there's been this feeling like, we had a real expectation for how things were supposed to be, right? And when things don't move the way we anticipate them to, that's when we start to notice the clinging or the pushing away, right? So if it's something that we really want to have there, then we cling to it, we hold on to it. And if it's something that's changed that we don't want, then we tend to try to push it away or to stop it from happening. Again, it's those two things that actually create our suffering. The perfect example would be like our dogs, right? Like if you have a dog or a pet at home, they're probably delighted that COVID happened, right? Because they've seen more of you than they have seen of you in the last, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15, 20 years. So it's been a huge joy for them. Their transition may be when we return to the office and the workplace and whatever that happens to look like. But, for so many of us, there's this idea that, we were supposed to have certain things that occur and very often, and that's okay. Like that's a normal way to feel. It's a really valid way to feel. It's how we've been conditioned from our environment, from our community, whether it's prom or whether it's certain people that we like to spend the holidays with. But it could be even deeper and richer. It could be the last moments in someone's life that we had always anticipated being there for. Or being a part of. And so I really don't want to make light of these feelings in any way. We really need to honor those feelings and to understand that people are going through this, and it can be really, really painful, and really, challenging their core beliefs about how they understand how life works. In mindfulness, our practice offers us a chance to really sit with those feelings, so that we can experience them as fully as we possibly can. In some of the Eastern religions, there's a concept of a thing called a samskara. And I don't know if we've talked about this before, but it's the idea that we have something that's stuck in our heart, right? And it's an unfinished or an unresolved feeling or issue. And how you know if you have a samskara is that you have had an experience and it kind of left you with a particular way of seeing something. And as you're going through your life, like something else will happen that will reactivate that feeling. right? And of course, these tend to be, painful feelings is how we tend to understand them, though they could be really positive things or things that are really happy that we're clinging to, right? So it doesn't have to just be a difficult or challenging feeling to sit with. And the challenge is that we never fully experience those feelings, right? We never allow them to work all the way through in their completeness. Or we have a philosophical perspective or a background understanding that, that they're not supposed to have worked this way. And so we struggle to ever move past them and to grow past them. And there may be little things, but there may be really deep, rich, complex things. So part of the practice of mindfulness is to really be, fully aware and connected to what's happening in the moment. And by doing that, at first, the first thing that people tend to notice is that they become much more aware of their feelings. There's a lot of feelings that we sometimes just, kind of let filter out of the way or distract ourselves from fully experiencing, or even maybe really experiencing at all. Some things that we avoid. And we may have little rationales and little things that we use to understand them. And in some cases, those are great because they allow us to really, create perspective so that we really can fully experience those feelings and then let them pass through. But sometimes they're just an opportunity to kind of avoid the actual feeling process itself. And so when we first start being mindful, we may start to really notice things in a more powerful way. And for some people, that actually is a little scary. It's like, wow, this is not what I came into this to rest and relax, right? And yet they find this kind of awakening is happening where they're connecting. And traditionally, the way we deal with that is to say, keep sitting, right? Keep meditating. It'll all work out, right? Like, yeah. My recommendation would be investigate, get some assistance, work with some folks, right? Find a background that feels comfortable to you. And, it could be a counselor that is aware of mindfulness and meditation. It could be it could be a Buddhist. It could be somebody who's trained in trauma-informed mindfulness. It could be, lots and lots of different people. There's lots of programs, there's lots of offerings, there's lots of opportunities. Here in the city of Richmond, we have the Chrysalis Institute, and they do magnificent work along these lines, really beautiful stuff. At the university, many of us have been trained in Koru mindfulness, which also allows us to help people, address these things as they're coming along. One of the things that has been really, really helpful along, my journey and through my past, and not to compare to anybody else's experience, but from my perspective, there's some really, really painful things in my past, whether it's, the people who died when I was very young that were members of my family, or my time in the military, where there were a lot of really horrible and tragic things that happened. Being able to sit and really work through and allow those experiences to pass fully through has set me free from them continuing to affect me over time. Like I still have some of the residuals, that'll, I don't know, as far as I know, they may always be there. And the mindfulness really helps me manage those feelings as they come up. But a lot of the things that I experience, I've really just genuinely have been able to fully experience and release. And so I don't, have the same kind of depth to my internal response when those become activated again. It's just a mild activation. It's something that I notice. It's not in any way overwhelming. So again, something to think about. And the longer you practice and the more time we spend with this, the stronger it gets. But to bring that back around to this idea that, we have these expectations. Again, we want to honor those expectations. We want to honor the fact that they're a part of our experience. But mindfulness can also provide us with the opportunity to really sit and fully experience them and even look at them carefully. You know, um, if we're starting to feel like something has been taken from us because we've experienced, this global pandemic, um, as far as, certain ways that we expect things to be, right? Like going to the office or being able to go to your prom or being able to go to dinner at your favorite restaurant, right? For instance, um, as we sit with that and we watch, what we'll notice is that we're clinging to an idea, right? We're holding on to something because we have an expectation that it was supposed to happen in a certain way. And as we cling to that idea, that's what creates our suffering. Like, do you want to go to prom in the middle of a global pandemic? Right? Like logically, it doesn't make sense. Like, no, we don't want to do that. But that's a very present moment understanding of, okay, there's a global pandemic. It could cost people, including me or people I know, their lives, right? Like their very life. So do we want to hold the prom? Well, no. So do I feel sad about that? Yes. Do I want to keep feeling sad about that and make it something that, begins to change the way I understand, like does that eventually become a mood, right? Where I'm just moody for the next month because I didn't get to go to prom or I don't get to go to my favorite restaurant, moods over time, if we continue them, can become behaviors, right? And then ultimately even personality traits. So when we're thinking about, being mindful and how we're connecting with what's happening, it's a really neat opportunity to really start to be able to select the things that we want to go on to become moods and ultimately like personality traits in our lives. So it's a really neat way to be able to really expand our own experience of life and be able to make conscious choices about how we want to do that. Again, that's some deeper work. That's some real deep work that can come with this practice. But many of you have been here for a long time and you've been coming. So just offering you a little more and opportunities to grow. And of course, as always, reach out to UR alums. You're welcome to email me. I will put my, I say UR alum, I'm in the UR Alumni Association. There's my email in case you want to reach out about more information about this. But it can be a really, really beautiful thing to bring into your life. This ability to really sit and carefully watch who we are and how we're experiencing our life so that as we continue to grow and we continue to move on, we're able to do so creating less and less suffering throughout the course of our lives. So, but again, thank you everybody for being here today. Go ahead and get into your comfortable position. I thought we would do some breath awareness, really connecting to how our bodies feel, allowing them to relax, and then maybe cultivating some curiosity to see what comes up for us while we sit today. So again, in your comfortable position, allowing your feet to rest on the floor, your spine to be tall, your head to balance on top of your spine, or whatever position is comfortable for you. As we begin, let's go ahead and start with a nice full deep breath in through the nose, maybe pausing at the top, and then a nice long extra slow exhale. So something like once your lungs are empty, then back in nice and slowly through the nose. Feeling that diaphragm expand and the ribs expand as the body brings all that air down deep into the lungs, and then long, slow exhale. Stretching that exhale out, really activating the parasympathetic nervous system so that our bodies begin to relax. And toward the end of those long breaths, just notice how all of a sudden the muscles just start to get heavy, right? Your shoulders begin to relax, your hands, your arms, right? The trunk of your body, your hips, legs. And then with the next in breath, just letting it get a little more shallow and a little more gentle. So we just allow our breathing to begin to settle into that familiar pattern that of whatever our body finds to be necessary for its needs in this moment. We don't have to interfere with it at all. Just see if we can allow it to be there. Just allow our breathing to happen. And if you notice your mind struggling with that and controlling it, that's okay. Just notice that. See if you can bring some curiosity to it. Like, isn't that interesting? My mind wants to control my breathing still, right? Somehow I'm rebelling against letting go. Yeah. And that's okay. Again, we're not trying to fix it. We're not trying to change it. We're just really noticing what's happening. We're noticing what's happening as non-judgmentally as we can. Taking note of what passes through our thoughts and feelings, gently releasing, and again, noticing the breath. Like really noticing the coolness on the inhale. And the slight warmth on the exhale. And now notice any place in your body where you may still be holding tension. Just bring it into your awareness and then hold it in your awareness while you continue to breathe. And you should notice that there's a natural relaxation that occurs when that happens. But sometimes we're tense and sometimes it doesn't. And that's okay. Just noticing what's happening, sticking with it, really keeping our awareness on that part. And if you're looking to relax, maybe try a nice sigh to help that process, to really help activate that parasympathetic system. So something like, and then just letting your breathing normalize again. Watching it go in, expanding the diaphragm and the chest and the rib cage, and watching it flow out. If you're noticing this is one of those days where you have a battle going on, coming back to your breath, first of all, just notice. Curiosity. There seems to be a lot of resistance to this behavior, to this activity today. No judgment, just curiosity. Curiosity doesn't mean analysis either. It's not a matter of figuring out why this is happening to me. Just noticing what exactly is happening. Paying attention. Honoring whatever comes up and whatever shows up. Again, filtering down to the body, looking for anything that, any part of your body that might be holding tension. Noticing. And then holding that in awareness as you continue to breathe and noticing your breath. So noticing any tension in your jaw, or in your calves, or your knees. And noticing that you're breathing. And if it feels good, just letting the body get heavier and heavier. And see if you can let your thoughts just flow on down the river of thought. Just watching them flow away. And noticing the quiet of the stillness. And if that doesn't happen, that's okay. Again, no judgment. Just being here with what's happening. Anytime sounds in your environment, distractions arise, taking note of them, and then gently releasing them and coming back to your body, back to your breath. Really focusing on the body and dropping down in deeper and deeper into your physical experience. Just letting the shoulders and the back and the neck get heavier and heavier. Letting your arms completely relax. Letting your fingers, your hands, your wrists, tips of your fingers, just letting them go entirely. Not moving them in any way. Now slowly beginning to let your breathing deepen. Again, connecting to your body in this environment, feeling the pressure of your body against the chair, the cushion, the mat, the floor, the bed. Noticing your fingers, maybe wiggling them a little, or wiggling your toes. As we just ever so gently begin to return to the room, into this space. And whenever you're ready, opening your eyes. So thank you all again for a wonderful midweek mindfulness. Such a pleasure to be here with all of you. Absolutely, you're very welcome. And thank you all for being here. Just means the world. So take care, have a blessed week, stay safe, be mindful as you're out, if you're out and about in the weather. But take good care, and we'll see you next week for Midweek Mindfulness. Be well.